And you know why you get so nervous? The first thing you have is a fear that you'll say something that everybody will laugh at. This is your fear. And that fear is making you anxious. And that anxiety is making you unable to what? Speak. I can't do it. So these things are related to each other, right? They're related to each other. And now you're learning, where does confidence come from?
At the end of Quran Week in Melbourne, our beloved Sheikh Bilal Asad came to visit Ustad Nu'man, where together they recorded a deeply insightful podcast episode together. Thereafter, Sheikh Bilal invited Ustad Nu'man to give a talk for the students at the Australian International Academy in Melbourne. Here's what Ustad shared with the students on that day.
He was just walking around and he was really nervous about what had happened. He hadn't told anybody yet. And he saw the same Israelite, the one who was getting beat up. He saw him in some corner getting beat up again by somebody else. And then Musa alayhi salam realized something. Man, this guy, he's shady. He's a crook. He's a thief. And that's why he keeps getting in trouble with the police, right? And this time the guy, and he saw the same person, and he's like, you know what? No, I'm going to let the police teach you a lesson this time. I'm not getting involved. I got in enough trouble the last day already. So he doesn't want to help him this time. And this guy's getting a beating, and the police was beating him so much he was going to kill him, right? So now Musa alayhi salam is thinking to himself, this is a no good person, but that doesn't mean he deserves to die. So I should maybe do something. So Allah says, فَلَمَّا أَرَادَ أَنْ يَبْطِشَ بِالَّذِي هُوَ عَدُوٌ لَهُمَا. Then finally, when he decided, this time he's not going to throw any punches, Allah says, يَبْطِش, which means he's just going to go grab the cop to keep him from throwing more punches. That's his intention this time, right? So he gets up and he's trying to walk slowly towards the police officer to try to stop him. But the guy that was taking a beating, you guys know ground and pound? You guys know anything about that? Okay. So he's getting grounded and pounded, and he sees Musa walking this way. The criminal is confused. He's like, is he coming to help me, or is he mad about yesterday because I made him kill a cop, and he's trying to join the cop and join in on the beatdown? And if he is, I can handle a lot of punches from this police officer. But if that man throws a punch, what happens? I'm going to die. So this guy who's getting beat is like, I gotta save myself. Oh, I know. So he starts screaming out. He goes, أَتُرِيدُ أَن تَقْتُلَنِي كَمَا قَتَلْتَ مُوسَى بِالْأَمْسِ? Oh, so you want to kill me like you killed somebody yesterday? So he called out, because he was the only witness, remember? So now all of a sudden, in front of a crowd, there was a bunch of people out there on the streets, and he called out, you're the one who killed the cop. And he did this because he was trying to save himself. One of the things you might learn from this is, yeah, Muslims should help others. We should. But you should be careful who you associate with and what kind of help you give. Because the kind of help you give might end up getting you in trouble. And depending on the kind of person you help and the kind of help you give, they might not be so loyal to you. They might turn on you the next day and throw you under the bus. So that's what he did to Musa alayhi salam, so he escapes. Right now he's trying to get away from Egypt. And he doesn't know where to go. He has no idea. But somehow he escaped. And by the way, there's another interesting part of the story. Somebody helped him escape. Somebody helped Musa alayhi salam escape because he didn't know where to go. And he was hiding and all the cops are looking for him. Now this is an important piece of the story. Who was loved who loved Musa alayhi salam a lot? Fir'aun. And who didn't like him? Remember? The cops didn't like him. The Egyptians didn't like him. So all of a sudden, he's killed one of the cops. So who really wants to kill him right now? The cops want to kill him. But usually, if the cops are looking for a criminal, they arrest the criminal and they bring the criminal to court. Then the criminal has to stand in front of a judge, and the judge looks at the case and then he decides. The only problem with that is when they arrest Musa and they bring him to court, who's going to be the judge? Fir'aun's going to be the judge. And Fir'aun's going to say, Okay, yeah, no more punches for you, okay? Now go to your room and think about what you did. In other words, he's not going to get in that much trouble. Why? Because Fir'aun loves him too much, right? And the cops know that. They know that if we arrest him and take him back to court, he's just going to get away with it. But the cops come up with a better idea. They're like, the cops had a secret meeting among themselves. And they have this meeting, it's called i'timar in Arabic. They have a meeting among themselves. The police chiefs are like, listen, officially, we're supposed to find him and arrest him. But unofficially, if we find him, we're gonna kill him, and then we'll make it look like an accident. And then we'll come back to Pharaoh and said, I don't know, he just ran off the top of a building. Don't know what happened there. I don't know, he ran into a spear. You must have been slippery that day. Lots of banana peels on the street. Right? So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make it look like it was an accident. So they didn't announce this plan. This plan was secret. Now, one of the police officers, one of the police chiefs that was in that secret meeting had his own secret. He was secretly Musa's best friend. So he's in the meeting where they're discussing that they're going to kill Musa, and now he knows that the cops are not going to arrest Musa. They're going to shoot first, ask questions later. That's what they're going to do. So now he's in that meeting, and he knows, because it's his best friend, he kind of knows where Musa would be hiding. Because they know each other. So when Musa alayhi salam is hiding in the city because everybody's looking for him, his friend somehow finds him and says, hey, no. I mean well for you. I'm not here to arrest you. Calm down. Because his friend's wearing uniform, right? So he tells him, I'm nasihun amin. I mean well for you. No. I'm not here to arrest you. But listen, innal mala'a ya'tamiruna bika liyaqtuluk. These police chiefs have made a secret meeting and they've made a plan. They're going to kill you. Fakhruj. You have no choice but to leave Egypt. You have no choice but to leave Egypt, right? So now Musa alayhi salam has to escape Egypt. I don't know if you guys play video games? I know I play old people video games like Assassin's Creed. I don't know, have you ever heard of Assassin's Creed? Okay, so in games like Assassin's Creed, you have to hide. And people can spot you, and the radar keeps going up, and if it turns red, that means you've been spotted. But you have to move carefully and be incognito so you don't get spotted, and you can escape and get to where you need to go, right? That's what happens in some games. So you have to be covert, hidden operation. The word for that in Arabic is yataraqqab. Yataraqqab means watch every step, kind of move carefully. Oh, there's a cop over there, just turn your face, just move your head down a little bit. Jump into a stack of hay or something. I don't know, right? Allah says, فَخَرَجَ مِنْهَا خَائِفًا يَتَرَقَّبُ. Allah says, Musa alayhi salam then left from this place, from Egypt, full of fear and watching every step. Like he's just really carefully trying to escape and get to where he needs to go. But once he escapes Egypt, which was, the capital, the area, it was this big city. Once you get out, it's the desert. So he's now out in the desert. Did he pack for this journey? What do you think? No, he didn't pack for this journey. Was he prepared for a journey through the desert? No, okay. Now here's the other thing about the desert. Are there clear roads in the desert so you know exactly where to go? No, you have no idea where to go. In fact, if you walk into the desert, it could be that even if you turn just you're not walking in a perfectly straight line, it's slightly bent. Your walk is slightly bent. You might end up making a giant circle and not even know. You wouldn't even know. And if you were supposed to head this way, imagine from here all the way to the end there. If somebody turned just 1 degree off, right? 2 hours later, they end up in a completely different area. In geometry, when a line is slightly at a different angle, it keeps getting distant and more distant from the original point, right? So if he makes even one little bit of a slight turn, he might end up in the middle of nowhere, completely dehydrated, and just die of the cold or the extreme heat in the middle of the desert. That will be the end of him. So he doesn't know where to go. And imagine like this, he's just standing there kind of looking around. Now imagine 100 kilometers from there, 500 kilometers from there, so really long distance from there, there's a place that can say, there's water. Or there's a place where he could be safe. Can he tell which way that is? No. You would kind of need a GPS, right? Like a GPS can tell you, okay, you're off, you're going straight, this many meters, this many kilometers, it kind of guides you. Allah says something amazing in the Quran. Allah says, وَلَمَّا تَوَجَّهَ تِلْقَاءَ مَدْيَنَ. He's turning his face in all these kinds of directions, but when he turned his face in the exact direction of a city called Madian, then he asked Allah, hopefully Allah will guide me to the straight way. And he starts walking. Allah put a feeling in him, this is the way you gotta go. And he starts walking. And he ends up actually by some water, right? So that's how Allah guided him out of that situation. Now, I wanted to share a little bit of that part of the story with you. Then there's another part of the story I wanted to share with you. And that part of the story has to do with after he got married and he forgot all about Egypt. He was really happy that he escaped Egypt. And he knows something about Egypt. The moment he goes back, what's going to happen? They're going to kill him. But now he's okay. He's got a wife. He's got a new life. He's got kids. He's fine. He's got a new life. And he doesn't have to worry about going back anymore. And one day he was traveling with his family, and it so happens, then they got a little bit lost. And it got nighttime. So it's getting really dark. And so he's calming his family down, and he sees up on top of a hill, he can see a fire. And he tells his family, I think there's a fire up there. They couldn't see it. He could see it. So he's like, you guys wait here. I'm going to go see if I can get some, because they couldn't start a fire. Let me see if I can borrow some fire from them, and we can start a fire of our own. And maybe those people know where the nearest town is, right? So maybe I'll find some guidance there, some directions there. أَوْ أَجِدُ عَلَى النَّارِ هُدًى. Maybe I'll find some guidance there. Or لَعَلَّكُمْ تَصْطَلُونَ, so you can get some fire too. So you guys just wait here. Now he's climbing up the mountain. Has he been on this mountain before? No, he's never been there before. Does he know who's going to meet up there? No. So obviously he's expecting it's going to be just a bunch of strangers, right? Or some people sitting around a fire. As he approaches, he hears the following words. Ya Musa. What does Ya Musa mean? Musa. That's what it means. I don't translate I just say Musa. Now you're going up a mountain you've never been before, in a place people you've never met before, and all of a sudden you hear what? Your own name. What is going on? Inni ana rabbuk fakhla'na. I'm your master. Take off your shoes. That's what he hears. And now he's having a conversation with Allah, right? Now, I will give you a little bit of homework. The part where he escapes, the part that I showed you where he escapes, that's in Surah Al-Qasas. I'll see if you remember that later. What did I just say? That's in what? Surah Al-Qasas. That's number 28. Okay? The part where he has a long conversation with Allah. Because that conversation is in different places, but where he has a really long conversation with Allah, for the first time, that part is in Surah Taha. Surah number 20. So let me see if you remember. The part where he escapes Egypt is in what surah? Al-Qasas. What number was that? 28. Good, 28. The part where he has a conversation with Allah, where's that? That's Taha. That's surah number 20. But then there's another, and different surahs kind of focus on different parts of the episode. Okay? But there's this last part of the episode that I want to share with you about, is one of my favorite parts. Is when so he's finally talking to Allah. It's an amazing moment in his life. And he's really grateful to Allah because Allah is the one who helped him escape what? Egypt. And now I'll tell you something from Surah Ash-Shu'ara. Surah Ash-Shu'ara is surah number 26. Okay? So this is the part of the conversation between him and Allah that is in surah number 26. And that's all I'll talk to you about today, just this small piece. He is so happy that Allah had saved him, and Allah says to him in surah number 26, "I'til qawma adh-dhalimin." Go to the wrongdoing people. Allah is giving him an instruction, go to the wrongdoing people. And Musa alayhi salam might be thinking, I wonder which wrongdoing people he wants me to go to, because it definitely won't be which ones? Egypt, because obviously they're the ones that are going to kill me. So there must be some other wrongdoing people you want me to go talk to. And Allah clarifies in the next ayah, قَوْمَ فِرْعَوْنَ أَلَا يَتَّقُونَ, the people of Pharaoh, I want you to go back. Aren't they going to want to protect themselves? Shouldn't they be protecting themselves? Musa alayhi salam's thinking, wait, I thought I was getting away because I was protecting myself. And Allah is saying, you need to go back because those people should be worried that they're not protecting themselves. It's like Allah is saying to him, you're not the one who needs protection. They're the ones in danger. They're the ones who need protection. Because you have Allah on your side, you may have the government of Egypt against you, but they have the government of Allah against them. So they're the ones in trouble. And you need to let them know how much trouble they're in. Okay? So he says, go and talk to these people. Now Musa alayhi salam's immediately thinking, ooh, that's going to be tough. What do you know about prophets? Do you know when Allah tells them to do something, what do? They do it. Very good. You all know that, right? Like Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah says about him, إِذْ قَالَ لَهُ رَبُّهُ أَسْلِمْ قَالَ أَسْلَمْتُ لِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. When Allah said to him, surrender, he surrendered. And he told him, slaughter your son, slaughter your son. Jump into a fire, jump into a fire. Take your family in the middle of a desert, take your family in the middle of a desert. No questions asked. When Allah told Musa alayhi salam, go back to Pharaoh, what do we expect Musa alayhi salam to say? Okay, سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا. Okay, I hear and I obey. I'm going. That's not what he says. That's not what he says at all. In fact, this is your next bit of an assignment, but before I do, I forgot all about the surahs. When he escaped Egypt, that was Surah Al-Baqarah. No, Baqarah? Al-Imran, very good. Qasas. When he had a long conversation with Allah, that was highlighted in Taha. And the conversation we're learning about now is in... What? Who? What? Did you just make up a surah? What did you just say? Ladies? You can speak too, you know. I believe you have mouths also. You use them a lot with each other. Let's go. Which surah? What are we talking about right now? Shu'ara. Very good. Okay, so now, listen. So, Allah tells him, go back to Pharaoh. Musa alayhi salam is going to say 5 things. He's not going to say one thing. He's going to say 5 things. And none of those 5 things are, yes, here I go, my Rabb. I obey. It's not that. It's 5 things. And I want you to know these 5 things. Number 1, إِنِّي أَخَافُ أَن يُكَذِّبُونَ. I am really scared that they're going to call me a liar. Number 1, I'm scared they will call me a liar. Number 2, وَيَضِيقُ صَدْرِي. When they call me a liar, I'm going to get anxiety. My chest becomes tight, which basically means I'm going to get anxiety. So number 1, they'll call me a liar. Number 2, I'll get anxiety. Number 3, وَلَا يَنْطَلِقُ لِسَانِي. I won't be able to speak because when I get anxious, I'm not able to speak. So what was number 1? They'll call me a liar. Number 2, I'll get anxiety. Number 3, I won't be able to speak. فَأَرْسِلْ إِلَى هَارُونَ. I have an idea. Why don't you give this mission to Harun instead? Because I'm not very good at it, because when they call me a liar, I'll get anxiety and I won't be able to speak properly. So my brother's pretty good at speaking. Could you give this to Harun? أَرْسِلْ إِلَى هَارُونَ. And that was how many things now? 4. Here's item number 5, the most interesting. Oh, and by the way, they have a crime on record against me and I'm afraid they'll kill me. What's he talking about? The police and the whole thing that happened, right? 5 things. Let's see if you can remember these 5 things. What was number 1? Show of hands now. Let's see. Ladies. Yes. He couldn't speak? No, that was number 2. I need number 1, all the way in the back. Liar? No, don't call me a liar. I say, hey, and you're like, liar? Okay, fine, they'll call me a liar. Number 2, gentlemen, yes, sir. He's going to have anxiety. Number 3. Yes? He won't be able to talk. Number 4. You're just popping out of your chair. The temperature of your seat just increased. Yes. What number was it? Did you just ask your friend what number it was? Okay, tell me. Now I have anxiety. We're going to have to start over because that messed up the order. What? Call it out. Everybody call it out. What was number 1? Liar. Yes. Number 2. Number 3. Speechless. Unlike you. Okay. And number 4. Ladies, your turn. Let's see. No, you guys. No, sorry. Sorry. No. Ladies, number 4. Show of hands. Show of hands. Yes. Send. Tell Harun to go, please. Number 5. You're killing me. You're killing me here. Yes. Kill it. They're going to kill me. Very good. Okay, now listen. The first thing wasn't they will kill me. What was the first thing? My question is, isn't it weird that he should be afraid of being killed, but his number 1 fear is not that he will be killed. His number 1 fear is what? That they're going to call him a liar. You know what that means? He's afraid of being humiliated. Guys, listen to this carefully. He's afraid of what? Being humiliated, like many of you. You're afraid of being humiliated. You're afraid of being made fun of by your friends in school, or not that much friends. You're afraid of somebody making fun of the shoes you're wearing, or the way you're dressed, or your hair, or your hijab, or your bag, your backpack, or your height, or how fat you are, or how skinny you are, or how short you are, or how weird you are, how your glasses are ugly. Shh, listen. You are, in fact, afraid a lot of times. Or the teacher in class asks you a question, and you're thinking, I should try to give the answer, but if I give the wrong answer, then everybody else is going to laugh at me, or that really smart kid in class that's so obnoxious is going to look at me and say, And you're afraid of that humiliation, so you don't say anything. Right? So being afraid of the comments of other people, being afraid of being bullied, being afraid of being called names is so huge, it actually makes humans different from animals. A cockroach doesn't care if you use bad words for the cockroach and say, you're such a liar, you're so filthy, you're disgusting. You cockroach. Like it won't be insulted. You know? You could yell at a bird, you can have a mean conversation with a snake, you're such a snake. Like you could do that. It won't be, but human beings, we're different. If people say mean things to us, it actually hurts us a lot. People can be perfectly healthy, adults can be perfectly healthy, and they go to work, and somebody disrespects them at work, and they lose their appetite, they feel sick, they don't want to go back to work, they completely collapse. Why? Because of the words of other people. Human beings are different, unlike any other species, because Allah didn't just make us creatures that need food, water, drink, shelter, protection. Not just that, we need dignity too. We need dignity too. And Musa alayhi salam is more scared to lose his dignity than he is to lose his life. This is actually pretty serious in the Quran because, Maryam, when she had a baby, you guys know the story? When she had a baby, she was so scared to go back because people were going to say mean things to her because of her baby, that she told the angel, Ya laytani mittu qabla hadha, if only I could be dead before this happens. Like she was so scared of humiliation, death became an easier solution in her mind than even humiliation. The reason I'm telling you this is Allah has told us in this religion that respect, giving respect, is actually one of the most important rights that a person has over you, and is one of the most important rights you have for yourself. And there are many places in the Quran and in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ where you kind of learn that actually this is just as important and just as big a crime as even taking a life itself, because life is nothing without dignity. Life is nothing without dignity. In a famous hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, I'll summarize it for you. He loved the Kaaba so much, he was talking to the Kaaba and telling the Kaaba that the dignity of a believer is more important to Allah than even your dignity. Now remember how much respect we show to the Kaaba, isn't it? Nobody goes to Umrah or Hajj and is ever going to even imagine disrespecting the house of Allah, right? You're in a mode of absolute in awe and respect of Allah's house. And this is the kind of thing that Allah's Prophet taught us. If you have that much respect for the Kaaba, that's how much respect you should have for the dignity of your friend or the kid that you pick on or the friend that's outside your friend's circle. You guys have your own circles and somebody's outside of that circle, and then it's easy to pick on them or to make fun of them, right? But their dignity is sacred. And it's kind of ironic that you can make fun of someone and humiliate someone and embarrass someone, and then Salah time comes and you're making sajda in the direction of the Kaaba. You're showing respect to the Kaaba, no respect to the dignity that Allah also made sacred. Right? That's sacred too. And Musa alayhi salam considers his own dignity so sacred that losing that is more terrifying to him than even losing his own life. That's what he tells Allah. I'm really scared of being humiliated. I'm really scared that they're going to call me a liar. He didn't just say, an yukadhibun. He said, akhafu an yukadhibun. Innahum yukadhibunani. No. Inni akhafu an yukadhibun. I'm scared that they're going to call me a liar. He was terrified of this. But then when people say bad things to you, the next thing, you guys remember, number 2 was anxiety. Well, what does that mean? When you could be really confident, but if somebody says mean things and somebody accuses you and somebody humiliates you, then you can lose your confidence and you won't be able to speak, right? And some people are really good at making you upset. And there are people that are very manipulative in conversation. So if I wanted to have a conversation with my older brother or older sister or something, or younger sister, and say, hey, did you take my pen from here? What did you say? Say it again. And when you start getting like that, when you get upset like that, the other person gets what? They get nervous, they get anxious. They forget what they were going to say. What happens when you get anxiety? You can't remember what you had to say. If some of you are very confident, mashallah, others of you get very anxious. And if I asked you to come and give a speech right now, and I told you a subject, you'd be like, something about Islam. And you know why you get so nervous? The first thing you have is a fear that you'll say something that everybody will laugh at. This is your fear. And that fear is making you anxious. And that anxiety is making you unable to what? Speak. I can't do it. So these things are related to each other, right? They're related to each other. And now you're learning, where does confidence come from? Confidence comes from you stop being afraid of the opinions of people. That's where it comes from. And then you can just speak. Then you can just say what's on your mind. You're not trying to impress people, and you're not afraid of the humiliation coming from people. You can just express yourself. Khair. What else did he say to Allah? 3 things, okay, so there's I'm afraid they're going to humiliate me, call me a liar, I'll get anxiety, I won't be able to speak, and therefore I'm not good enough for this. Who should be given this mission? Harun should be given this mission. And finally, now he's actually afraid. By the way, why is he putting Harun first and his life later? Because to him, the mission Allah gave him is more important, his life is less important. So before I'm afraid that I'll be killed, I'm more afraid that I don't provide a solution for this instruction that Allah gave. So he says, please give this mission to Harun. Now Allah is going to listen to all 5 of those things. And Allah is going to respond to him. And the way Allah responds is pretty amazing. Allah says 2 words. In the Arabic, it's 2 words, but they have a whole world in them. He said, Kalla fadhaba. Kalla means not at all. I'll say that again. Kalla means what? Not at all. And then he said, both of you go. Not at all, both of you go. Let's understand that. His fear number 1 was, they will call me a liar. Allah says, not at all, don't worry about it. I'll get anxiety. Allah says, not at all, don't worry about it. I won't be able to speak. Allah says, not at all, don't worry about it. Send my brother, please. Allah says, both of you go. They're going to kill me. Not at all. Don't worry about it. Kalla, fadhaba. 2 words, it's all done. And then he says, and you can both go, and I'll also send some miracles with you. Some special stuff with you. You know some of the special stuff that was sent? Like what? The ayat. The stick that turned into a snake and the hand that turned white. Now here's the thing. I'm going to leave you with this, but it's something to think about for you. When Musa a.s. finally went back, and he's in front of Fir'aun eventually, which is a pretty epic story. How did he even make it back? Right? But when he's finally standing in front of the king, and he's about to have this conversation with him, what did he have in his hand? He had a stick. One thing that could have happened is he could have just gone there, and he could have just dropped the stick in the very beginning, like a mic drop, and what would the stick have done? It would have turned into a snake, it would have gone up to the Pharaoh, and problem solved. You know, if the Pharaoh is the problem, and Allah has given him a giant snake that cannot be overcome, just drop the snake, problem solved. Is that what happens? No. So that's something to think about. Why didn't that happen? But anyway, I've shared enough of that story with you guys today. Inshallah. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. You learned something, inshallah.